The mid-engine Ferrari market has shifted. After months of softening prices, values for many models are now flat or increasing. But not all Ferraris are following this trend. In fact, two models are lagging behind while the rest of the market recovers. In this update, we'll examine the data behind the rebound, explore how it compares to the rest of the market, and reveal which two models are still underperforming. By the end of this video, you have a clearer picture of where the market really stands and which Ferrari models could present interesting opportunities for value-conscious buyers. We start with the models for which price trends are strong in the US market, and we wrap up with the German market. But first, two administrative messages. Number 1. We only cover the mid-engine market. Front-engine Ferraris are covered over here. Number 2. I'm looking for a video editor, so if you're interested, please shoot me a message. My contact details are down below in the video description. Let's get started with the F355 Spiders. Prices were stable for a long time, but started to increase in the beginning of 2024. Compared to last year, we're looking at an increase of 9.1% for the automatics and 6.1% for the Spiders. The coupes and targas are excluded, because supply levels are even lower than in the Spider market. As you can see from the confidence intervals, results need to be interpreted with care. 360s also have been a solid place for your money. Automatics are up by 3.9% and manuals by 0.3%. These results aren't statistically confirmed, so this means that the price change can be the result of chance. In practical terms, it means that you can assume that prices were stable. We'll skip the Challenge Stradalis because supply is extremely low, so let's continue with the F430s. We can see that prices for the automatics corrected substantially during 2023 and the beginning of 2024. The downward trend broke towards the end of 2024 and prices have been stable during last year. We're looking at a decrease of minus 1.3%. We'll skip the manual market. The Scuderia market is again very small, so the price trends fluctuate as a result of the small market size. In general though, prices have been stable between $300,000 and $350,000 depending on mileage and spec. Compared to last year, prices are up by 2.9%. But again, please interpret this relative to the historical volatility. And that brings us to the 458, an incredibly strong market. If you drove your car as much as the rest of the owners, it's likely that your car appreciated. And this of course helps to keep the total cost of ownership low. Another way to keep total costs low is to protect your car from accidental damage, such as scratches on your front bumper caused by speed bumps and windshield cracks caused by rocks. To protect your car from these dangers, you can install the latest in skid plate and windshield protection film technology from Exclusive Motorworks. Their Automat skid plates are the thinnest on the market, are custom fitted by using 3D laser scanning technology and require no drilling, screws or rivets to attach. The windshield skin keeps your windshield safe from things like cracks and chips, preventing costly replacements. Moreover, you can install the windshield skin yourself without professional help. You can order skid plate kits and windshield skin kits for your car at exclusivemotorworks.com. Let's have a look now at 458 prices. We can see that prices corrected after the pandemic price stop and stabilized during 2023 and the first half of 2024. During last year, the price trends curled up. Spiders are up by 5.6% and coupes by 1.5%. Coupes are a bit lagging behind and the increase isn't confirmed, while it's confirmed in the Spider market. The situation in the Speciale market is even more extreme. Have a look at this. Mid-2024 prices started to increase, first slowly and then rapidly. Compared to last year, prices are up by 28.9%. So this means that you need to pay around $800,000 to $900,000 if you want one. That is, if you can find one. Supply is low, so naturally there's some uncertainty included in this 29% increase. Now I verified the increase with several other sources, but I'm curious to hear from you if you've been tracking the market or perhaps even work in the trade. Are you seeing this increase and what do you think is driving it? We'll continue now with the 488. Value loss in this segment is minimal as trends continue to flatten during 2025. Spiders are down by 0.6% and coupes by 1.9%. The latter decrease is confirmed, but the first one isn't, so it's fair to assume that prices were stable. The situation in the Pista market is similar to the Speciale market. It's extraordinary. Prices are surging at a similar pace, if not quicker, than during the pandemic. Again, let me know your thoughts. We can see that prices started to increase during the end of 2024. In 2025 though, they exploded. Coupes are up by 11.4% and Pistas by 33.1%. Massive increases. Spiders are now well over $1 million for examples with less than 2,500 miles. Coupes are significantly cheaper and sit at approximately $650,000. Now we covered all models for which prices are stable or even increasing. We saw that price trends flattened during 2024 and that this resulted in price trends turning up during 2025 or a continuation of the flat development. So basically this means that all the models up till the 488 didn't depreciate or even appreciated. That is, if you ignore inflation. Also, the inventory data for all models up to the 488 supports this observation. The carried over inventory rate was flat between 2023 and the end of 2024, but now slowly decreased. This metric shows the percentage of cars that didn't sell within 3 months. The lower the number, the quicker the cars are selling. At 34%, the metric is close to the one for September 22. Also, the price changes that occur in case the car doesn't sell have been less negative. We can see that they're basically 0%. So this means that sellers aren't decreasing prices if a car doesn't sell within 3 months. They know that the demand is there and that it's likely that the car will sell for the same price. Models released after the 488 are still depreciating, but they're doing so at various speeds. F8s are, for example, coming down slowly and started to bottom. Price trends in this market are remarkably similar to the one in the 488 market, but slightly delayed. The depreciation rate is decreasing. Last year, Coupes lost 2.9% and Spiders 4.4%. 296s and SF90s are clear outliers. Depreciation rates in these markets are clearly higher than for the rest of the mid-engine models. 296 Spiders and Coupes are falling rapidly and there are no signs that the depreciation rate will slow down anytime soon. Coupes lost 19.1% and Spiders 17.2%. Median prices arrived at $358,000 and $446,000 respectively. SF90s are dropping at marginally lower rates, but are also a bit older. Coupes arrived at $494,000 and in the grand scheme of things priced quite close to 296 Spiders. Last year the Coupes lost 15.9% and the Spiders 15.2%. Let's put everything together now and draw some conclusions. Over here we have the year-over-year price changes for the models we talked about. We can clearly identify two different market categories. In the first category, prices are basically flat or increasing. The depreciation rate in the F430 and 488 market decreased during last year. Prices for 360s, 458s and F355 also strengthened, resulting in price increases. And look at that 458 market. We saw that there was a clear trend change. Then we have the models for which prices are still decreasing. The F8, SF90 and 296. In the F8 market, the depreciation rate is decreasing rapidly, while it's stable in the SF90 and 296 market. The average market decline for all the cars for which I'm tracking the prices is 2.7%, and most cars lost between 0 and 6%. In general, depreciation rates for sports and supercars decreased, and this is also what we see in the Ferrari market. Now compared to the general market trend, the F355, 458 and 360 outperformed the market. The 488 and F430 did slightly better than the average and the F8 slightly worse. The SF90 and 296 are really on the extreme end of the depreciation scale and underperformed massively to the market. Now this is natural, because they are the newest cars. Yet there are plenty examples of new cars that didn't depreciate at 20% per year. So what do you do with all of this information, provided that you're a value conscious buyer? I think it's fair to say that everything besides the 296 and SF90 are value conscious choices at the moment. The F8 slightly less than the other models, but you could do a lot worse. If you're doubting between the F8 and the 488, the 488 is the smarter choice. But if your heart is set on an F8, I would go for it. The situation for the special models is rather extreme. Scuderias are up by 2.4%, and this seems to be in line with the rest of the mid-engine market. Speciale Coupes though are up by 30%, Pista Coupes by 11.4% and Pista Spiders by 33.1%. These are massive increases. As I said before, if you have some information on this, please share it below in the comment section. After such a massive surge, I'm inclined to wait a moment and see how the market reacts versus jumping onto the models. Personally, I think that buying one of these models right now comes with a bit of risk. Of course, the market can continue to rise, but it might also top in a similar way to what we saw during the pandemic. If you're someone who likes a bit of risk, this might be exactly what you're looking for. The Scuderias, for example, might follow their newer counterparts. Now, everything we talked about so far applies to the US market. The situation in Europe, though, can be completely different. Remember what we saw 2 weeks ago in the GT3 market? Prices increased in the US, but decreased in Germany. In a comparison between the US and German market, we can see that 296s are depreciating significantly slower in Germany than in the US. Price changes for the other models are fairly similar. Also, the price trends for the special models are slightly different. 458 Speciale coupes were fairly flat during last year. Pistas increased between 1.5 and 4.4%, but these changes aren't statistically confirmed. So it seems that for now, the big price surge in the Pista and Speciale market is limited to the US. Now, if you enjoy this data-driven way of analyzing car prices, but would like to see a video for a different car, head over to my channel. Over there you find detailed market analysis for a large variety of cars. Can't find the car you're looking for? Let me know the name of that car by commenting it down below in the comment section. Once there are enough requests for a certain car, I'll make a video about it. As always, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again in 2 weeks for a fresh market update.